Since RuneScape's first release in 2001, a lot has changed. New content's been released, old content's evolved, and the game just doesn't feel how it used to. But what if there was a way to experience the oldest content in the game exactly as it was intended, isolated from all the skills, the keybinds, the stuff of modern day? Well, it turns out there is. Welcome to LVL Locked. On this account, I will start in 2001, only able to access content from that year until I reach a certain total level milestone and complete the major content that was available at the time. Once these requirements are completed, I'll unlock the next year, and we'll keep repeating the process until we make it back to the present, where I will obtain my max cape, and hopefully a pretty beefy account. Welcome to 2001. RuneScape is just being released, alongside some of the most iconic quests, and well, not really a whole lot else, so that should make this year's goal pretty obvious. Alongside reaching the total level 153, I will need to complete every quest from 2001. The original plan was to complete Dragon Slayer, the most important quest of the time, but since 2001, some of the quests have become mini quests, so they no longer give quest points for completing them, which means I can't actually get 33 quest points, which is required to start Dragon Slayer. Also, a fair few quests from 2001 have been reworked to bring them into the modern day, which is unfortunate, but we're still going to have to complete them, since, you know, I need content. I think that's enough talking. Let's get into it.
Nope.
I said, let's get into it.
Nope.
Okay, for real. This time. Let's go. So, here he is. The man, the myth, the legend. LVL Locked. My account for the foreseeable future. Since the toolbelt wasn't released until 2011, we'll have to have all the tools at first. Bob in Lumbridge gives bronze hatchets away for free, but I'm pretty sure they weren't free back in the day. Whenever something like this happens, I'll just drop the amount of GP that I would have spent on the floor. Same goes for Al-Qarid Gate. In true noob fashion, it's time to slaughter some goblins and steal their coins.
A few moments later.
And there we have it. Money, let's go get myself a hatchet. Nice one, Bob! Now, let's get some logs. It's probably a good idea to get a tinderbox as well. So let's go to the general store. So now we're ready to embrace our inner anti-Mr. Beast and deforest the entirety of Gielinor, burning it all to ashes. Well, maybe not quite all of Gielinor. Probably more like 2 or 3 little trees. But it's close enough. While I still need the total level to reach 153, I know that I will get a lot of XP rewards from quests. And now it's time for an epic quest montage! I went to see the Lumbridge cook, but he needed a cake for the Duke. So I went and made some flour. Turns out it was the wrong flour, so I did it again. And then went and got an egg. Like, a really big egg. He could have probably just used 3. After that, I went and stole some milk from a poor girl's prized cow, and then took it all back to him, and he turned it into a cake. And after all that, I still wasn't invited to the party, but I did get level 8 cooking, somehow, without actually cooking. After that, I spoke to this guy in the church, who told me about this ghost who was just in the graveyard, chilling. Except, he wasn't really chilling, actually. He was rather restless. So, I spoke to this old guy in the swamp, and he gave me this amulet to talk to ghosts, because, you know, people just have those lying around. So, I went back and spoke to the ghost, and he said that he was restless, because he hadn't got his skull. Turns out, the skull was pretty easy to find. Rather convenient. But it wasn't that convenient when I picked it up and some skeleton dude jumped out on me. So like any good adventurer, I killed him. Well, re-killed him. Finally, I could take the skull back to the ghost, and they all lived happily ever after. Especially me, because I got 10 prayer. Lumbridge got a bit dead after that, so I took a stroll down to the wizard's tower, where a wizard, surprisingly, needed help with a quest. This guy was mental. Like, legit lost his marbles. Well, not marbles. Magical beads. He sent me to the 4 main elemental altars where I should be able to find them, but these altars don't exist. So, anyway, at each one of these altars, I found a pesky imp who didn't want to give me the bead. One sneezed all over me, one of them tried to kill me, unsuccessfully, one of them threw up on me, and then one of them challenged me to a race, and he was fast. Like, I had to turn on run, which, in fairness, wasn't a thing in 2001, but this whole quest is just one big continuity error, so we'll move on. Now that I had all 4 beads, I went back to the wizard. He gave me an amulet for range, and then 11 magic, and I didn't even do any magic. Because everyone in Gillinor can't do their own work, and they're lazy, I had to go and help a dwarf named Doric with some very basic tasks. Nothing really interesting happened here beside me getting 10 mining, and I'm now pretty much a dwarf. At this point, I realised I was way too much of a noob to carry on, so I went and did some smithing and cooking until both were level 10. Finally, I was capable of completing a quest that I hadn't even been told about. How peculiar. This quest sent me to Squire Asserol in Falador, who'd somehow managed to lose his master's sword, and obviously it was my responsibility to replace it. So I found a picture in a cupboard upstairs of the sword, and I took it to a dwarf who said he'd be able to help me in exchange for pie. I went into an underground cave south of Port Sarium, got myself some blue-rite ore, brought it back to the dwarf, he turned it into a sword, I gave the sword to the squire, and after all of that, I got 30 smithing, and I didn't even do any smithing. Shield of Arav was next. I bribed the Varrock fur trader to expose the whereabouts of a Phoenix gang, aka a totally legitimate business run by a legitimate businessman. I needed to join their gang in order to steal half a Shield of Arav, which they owned. So I killed a member of the rival gang, the Black Arm gang. So then I joined the Black Arm gang by stealing 2 crossbows from the Phoenix gang, which I'm still a part of apparently. After that, I had both halves of the shields, combined them, took them to Raldo in the library. Quest done. Another Sourdomus guy came along and made me do all the work for him. So I went underground because that's where all the action is. Some cultists were trying to summon a demon, Derelith, and that isn't very nice of them. So the only way to stop Derelith was to use Silverlight, a sword that was in a cave underground. I spoke to some spirits who gave me surprisingly simple tasks given how powerful the sword was meant to be, and they let me have the sword. So I took the sword and killed the cultists before taking on Derelith. This was a weird one because for once the guy who actually gave me the quest actually did something useful. Finishing the quest, I got 10 strength levels, 10 defense levels, which pushed us up to the total level of 153, thus ticking off one of 2 requirements for 2002. Only 2 quests now stood in my way, Stolen Hearts and Diamond in the Rough. I ran into Ozan, who needed my help infiltrating a gang. Why are there so many gangs in these days? I don't know. Anyway, this particular gang was plotting to kidnap Prince Ali of Al-Kharid, and we can't be having that. So we had to fight some mercenaries and then did some hardcore parkour our way all the way around Al-Kharid in order to steal a gem from the palace. But only kind of. Anyway, we got caught, but that's fine because we were the good guys anyway. After teaming up with Osman, Ozan and I went out into the desert to rescue Prince Ali. On the journey, we fought some elite bandits. Somehow, we beat them all and rescued the prince. And just like that, quest was complete, and now 2001 has come to an end. Just a quick one at the end of the video to say thanks for watching. I do have a friends chat if you'd like to join it, which is LVL_Locked. I also stream on Twitch most days of the week, and you can find me at twitch.tv/Spidermash. Thank you. Bye! Inner anti-Mr. Beast. Anti-Mr. Beastie anti-Mr. Basta. Fudge. Anti-inner Mr. No. Now we're ready to embrace our inner Manta Ban.